All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday, July 26, 2023. We have another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report coming at you. Pretty big one. This one's quite stacked. Lots of activity just in the last 24 hours, and I guarantee there's going to be a few coins that you guys have never seen before that have popped up on this report. Now, where are all the coins coming from? I get that question on occasion. I thought I would go ahead and answer that for you. A lot of the coins coming off of eBay have been cherry-picked in some capacity, whether that's through roll hunts, going through large masses of pocket change, or even perhaps cherry-picking your local coin shop or show. There's going to be a myriad of different ways that you can find some of these coins. Of course, one of the biggest ones is to go to the bank and just ask for rolls. Because that's going to be, I would say, the most affordable, right? Because you still have to pay face value for the rolls. You kind of go through them. It's like playing with house money. It's the easiest way of doing it. So the errors and varieties segment of numismatics has long been a very niche part, right? Not everybody loves it, but at the same time, the coins that do pop out for everyone to see, they actually have quite a bit of value to them. So, you know, it seems like a very easy, common sense thing to do, you know, as far as reselling them. You resell them, you get them out in the marketplace. eBay, probably the best forum for that because you have a lot more eyes on these things rather than trying to sell it at a local coin shop. You're gonna do really well. You know, if you have the right coins, you know what you're looking for, you are going to do very well. A couple ground rules before we jump in. Number one, we don't talk about graded coins in this video. And the big reason why is it's an unneeded expense. Grading costs a lot of money. You know, at the low end, they're like 30 bucks a coin. So it could really add up, and it's not proven that it's going to add value to errors and varieties. As a matter of fact, these things sell on their own, just the way they are. So if you find them, take pictures of them, resell them. All right. Speaking of pictures, the other thing I wanted to point out, everything that you see here today is original to the respective sellers' listings. All right. We didn't juice or doctor any of the photos with the exception of cropping them so that way we could fit them on one page here. So just wanted to let you guys know that you guys will get the best and the worst images that you will see. And it'll kind of give you the idea of what the low bar is set in terms of expectations, okay? Because you don't have to be a perfect picture taker of coins. I know it's quite difficult, but at least you guys will know what the minimum requirement is going to be to sell these things. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in to the first item here. We do have a couple really exceptional pieces of paper currency this week. Here's the first one here on this 1977 A Series $1 bill featuring a misaligned overprint. So anything with serial numbers and district seals has been shifted to the left a little bit. Usually when you look at these, you want to look for two things. Is there some overlapping of the overprint to any of the other design elements from the second print, which is the base print there? Or the green district seal. How far off is it from the main one typeset here? All right, so this one definitely shifted to the left. You can see everything shifted to the left. These are quite desirable. This one ended up selling for $104.25. It's not the most dramatic looking misaligned overprint, but still, it's a good one nonetheless. There's a little bit of a back image there showing very minimal amount of circulation wear, if any. I would probably dare say that this is a crisp, uncirculated example. Now, this is probably the shocking listing of the week. It's what looks to be just a plain Jane 1942 D. They call this a Type 1 because it's a nickel composition. The mid-mark is to the right of the base of Monticello. This one just has a shallow sheet clip. You can see it right above the word Liberty on the obverse. There is also a little bit of Blakesley effect, most notable on the reverse next to the E in pluribus. It's very minimal. But somehow this one ended up selling for $60.42, and that's with 7 bids. So that is a tremendous amount of money, and that's not something that normally you guys see. You know, usually a single clip typically enhances the value of a coin to that $5 to $10 range. So I did a little digging. Is this the D over horizontal D variety? I looked up close, and it isn't. It's just a really tough date for errors, and that's probably the big reason why that this one fetched the $60 that it did. So quite an interesting one here. All right, now this coin proves once again that Woody collecting is unbelievably hot today. This is a phenomenal example, considering that you have the wood grain toning on the obverse and the reverse of the coin. This is simply an improper alloy mix, and that's how they're made. The little bit of tin that's added to the composition didn't mix well with the copper. All right, so this is kind of like that byproduct that you have here. This one right here ended up selling for $60.95 with 9 bids. It looks to be about uncirculated, maybe a high-end XF coin. It's in great shape, and there's a lot of reasons why that this one sold for the amount of money it did. Okay, grade and the appearance and the look of the wood graining is simply exceptional on this one. From the same seller, we had a number of these laminations. This one is a retained lamination, which means it hadn't fallen off the coin, on the 1946 Lincoln wheat cent. This one right here ended up selling for $6.71 with 5 bids. Nothing too crazy, but just wanted to let you guys know that these things sell for a few bucks. They're definitely worth holding on to. And we also have a 1930. This one's more impressive because you have the actual strip of lamination issue going across Lincoln's face. So you get all sorts of really cool effects here, you know, and that's something that is quite visually appealing for folks that collect this particular mint error. This one right here ended up selling to the tune of $15.34 with 8 bids. Again, laminations are at the lower end of the totem pole when it comes to mint errors. You cannot retire off of these, but you know, you could sell them for a number of dollars, whether it's $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever the case may be. These have so much more value than what face value is. Here's another impressive one. How about this 1921? Pretty nice early date here. Crazy looking lamination on the obverse. Again, you have, you know, it's a defective planchet, mostly due in part that the alloy mix wasn't properly mixed. You know, and then there's, you know, annealing issues and things like that. This one sold for $12.45 with 8 bids. So we have a number of coins that sold from the same seller. And had done okay, you know. They did sell, and again, they do have some extra value. All right, so here's an interesting one here. This is one that I've never talked about before. I've kind of kept this one in my back pocket. I've known about it for over a decade, but let's go ahead and chat about it. And you can only find these on the New York Fed Reserve banknotes, specifically the $5 bills. 1934 B series $5 bill. Make sure it has that large letter B in the black district seal. That's what you're going to look for. But also check out, well, the condition note that's circulated. But check out the plate number here. If you come across one that has the number 212, this is actually an interesting plate number because it's an engraving error. There are micro and macro sized plate numbers, all right? And this particular shape of the 212 is actually right in the middle. It's larger than the micro plate number, but smaller than the macro. And you could only find it on the New York Fed Reserve notes. So again, very interesting. It's a very niche type of note to look for, and the audience is just as passionate about these. They sell surprisingly well. This one ended at $199. So yeah, and that's the going rate. There aren't too many of these that do pop out into circulation, let alone out in the marketplace, because not a lot of people know about it, but it is a well-known engraving error on the plate number. We also have this 1977 $100 bill, great looking note, and I'm willing to bet this is something that you don't see a whole lot of. Now, the front of the note looks normal, right? It's like your old issue style small head, which has been out of circulation for quite some time. So when we look at the back of this particular note, we're going to find a really cool partial front to back wet ink transfer. So with things like these, you're going to notice some of the front inking on the back and then vice versa. This is simply just ink that was on the impression cylinder that transferred to the sheet. So it's very interesting, very dramatic. It's cool. If you have, either 50% or higher of the note covered in that that wet ink transfer. So with that being said, this one ended up selling for $399.95. Again, a wet ink transfer, that's something you don't typically see on these older issue $100 bills. So that's the big reason why this one kind of outperformed all the other ones that we have seen in the past. All right, so this is a cool one here. This one has actually been doing extremely well on the secondary market, but it's a 2023 Philadelphia Edith Kanakaole American Women Quarter. This one has the long strike through on the reverse. Okay, you can see that strike through span just about all the way across the coin, but this is that feeder finger field restricted strike through event. So yeah, it's quite dramatic, and this is actually what the reverse picture looked like. It was actually cut off, so it wasn't completely a full picture there. But with that being said, this is a good one to find out there today, even as the Eleanor Roosevelt quarters are circulating currently. This is one that I'm sure a lot of you are coming across right now. This one sold for $45.24. Pretty nice off-center struck Lincoln Memorial cent. I believe this is a copper. It does not have a readable date, unfortunately. However, it's a collectible piece. This one ended up selling for $27.21 with 8 bids. And, the big selling point, of course, is that composition. This one is a copper. All right, the copper-coated zinc of the same type doesn't sell for nearly as much. Whew, man, it's tough to find this error on just the biggest key date in the Liberty V nickel series, and that's the 1885. I've said before that rather minor mint errors like laminations and defective planchets, like something like this, they can actually do more harm than good, on the value of key dates. This one, we really didn't see, too big of a difference as far as the valuation. It ended up selling for $354 on this one. And if you say it's a waste of money, not exactly. That's the going rate for low-end 1885 Liberty V nickels. These things are just naturally expensive, kind of like the 1909 SVDB, the 14D Lincoln, and a myriad of different other dates. Here's a 1991 Philly Lincoln Memorial cent. This is a broad strike error, so the collar was malfunctioned. All right, it wasn't engaged. The collar is what keeps the coin in the strike. The striking chamber, so that way, the metal flow stops at that edge where the collar is, to keep it within tolerances. This one right here, it's a pretty nice date. Again, these are collected by date. So, you know, if a 1991 is needed for a collection, then, you know, that's going to be this one. This one sold for $13.99. Again, the more modern age of the copper-coated zinc composition coins. Don't traditionally command a huge amount of money, but, you know, this one is pretty neat. Very clean example, too. Pretty well circulated. I'm willing to bet a lot of folks thought that this was damaged, but it's a 1990D Washington quarter with a pretty sizable curved clip. This one has exceptionally strong Blakesley effect, as you can see under the date, and then on the reverse as well, right above States of America. That's generally a flattened area of the rim on these here. This one sold for $16.12. The coin is pretty well circulated as well. Okay, we got 1900 New Orleans Morgan dollar. This one has some issues. It's got some pretty nice graffiti action right there on Lady Liberty's cheek, so it is far from being the perfect looking coin. However, I implore you, there is a lot of varieties to look for in this Morgan dollar series. They are widely collected by VAM varieties. This is another good one here. This is the O over Carson City mint mark. Kind of hard to tell, but you can see a part of the first C right there, that little spike, and then a double spike. It looks like claws right there for the other Carson City. This is a very well-known VAM variety. This one sold for $70 with 27 bits, considering that you could have bought this thing for like 30, 35 bucks raw in a melt silver bin. You know, and then flipping it for over double is just a ticket. And it's a great practice as well if you're cherry picking. This one's pretty neat here. I've seen a few of these. 2006 Denver this time on the Lincoln Memorial. We could see some of the missing copper plating on here. So you have a nice little swath of exposed zinc. So this is something that you do come across. Again, it all has everything to do with the process in which these things were plated. It was the imperfect operation, I will tell you that. So with things like this one ended up selling for $31.89 with 9 bids. And I'm sure some of you are going to say, well, you know, maybe someone put chemicals on there to cause that. The thing about these coins is that they have a very precarious, very thin copper plating. So it's not going to take a whole lot for these to bubble and burst and, you know, do sorts of other things. This one is just way too clean for it to be played with. Here's one of the biggest varieties. Always a welcome surprise. This one's not the perfect example. It's got a few rim nicks that kind of detract from the overall appeal of the coin, but nonetheless, this is a great variety. It's the doubled Monticello 1939 Jefferson nickel. You could see a lot of that doubling in 5 cents and the word Monticello. Again, this is just another really big variety. They're worth lots of money in any grade. This particular one sold for $48.17 with 4 bids. Again, just a pristine type of variety that really showcases what can happen at the mint when the working hub and the working die, you know, they don't exactly work in harmony. All right, so there you go. Very nice one. Great to see this one here as well. It's been a minute. 2007 Philly Roosevelt dime with the split die crack, as you can see there on the obverse. I actually had owned one of these. I just sold mine recently to a well-known error collector, so I was glad to be able to provide this one to someone that really wanted it. A great coin. Again, this one sold for $140.15. Kind of crazy that you could find a few of these mid-2000s split dies and shattered dies out there. They are out there, so keep on looking. And I know not too many people actually search through Roosevelt's, but this would be a good reason to. All right, we did have a few cuds. We had this 1982 large date copper with a cud there at the 12 o'clock position on the obverse. I mean, these are great errors, and they are very widely collected today. And again, this is my one per video cuds are kings statement. And this one is another one sold for $20.94 this time around. We also had this 1969 S Lincoln Memorial. Again, another size, really nice size cud at the base of Lincoln's bust. This particular one is also in really nice mint state condition as well. This one ended up selling much more like it for $60.25 with 2 bids. And then we also have this one here. It looks to be a 1974, and that's what this seller put on there. The seller also mentioned that there's a little bit of a blue tone to it as well. All right, so which might play, you know, favorably for these listings, but what really matters is that cud there over the date. And this particular one ended up selling for $61, and that's with 4 bids. So great looking coin again. I like these cuds; they're just phenomenal. All right, so now we're back to currency. So you guys know what star notes are for, right? Star notes were printed separately, and these were going to be used to replace notes that had like printing issues and things like that. Notes that normally quality control inspectors would take out of the run and replace it with a star note. So yeah, pretty neat stuff, all right? But we've all known about this for a while now. But a star note with an error is just simply amazing. Now, this one is a little bit circulated, all right? So it's been around the block a few times. Well, before I got to it. So you'll see this one has a minor gas pump turn digit there. That last 7 of the serial number on the top right is a little bit higher than all the rest. So when you have an error combined with a star, you know, that's kind of like the ultimate piece of irony. So this one sold for $55, if you can believe that. So this is a note that you could easily miss. I would say just look at every single star note. You just never know what you're going to find. And again, there's the reverse showing some soiling, a little bit of wear. And then one of my favorite coins of the week, 1854 Seated Liberty $50. The big selling point with this one, folks, so you probably see it, is it's got some pretty nice, strong die clashing. You can see it here on Lady Liberty's elbow right here. So you can see it on the reverse here between the wing and leg. So, you know, under the right kind of lighting conditions, you could see more of this clash, but it's always great to see a strong clash, even on the more classical dates of coins. This one, a very nice sale. I would say the seller did mention it was like an AU condition coin. I would probably agree with that. This one sold for $311.20 with 25 bids. And we also have this silver certificate as well, a 1957B silver cert. Boy, this thing is awesome. You could blink and totally miss this one. But check out the first couple digits of each of the serial numbers. Yep, you guessed it. This is a mismatch. So one starts with 3, the other starts with 4. They're supposed to match together, and this one does not. And this is always a huge note. Silver certificates were rife with mismatched serials. The note is actually in pretty nice shape as well, which is a huge plus. This one sold for $435. And guess what? It doesn't have to be graded. That's the beauty part to all this, guys. And we highlighted on the last PCMR the high leaf Wisconsin state quarter. This time we have a low leaf. All right, so you can see the low leaf. I'm going to dare say it, extra engraving on there. That was, I believe, intentional on this die. And these were distributed back in the day in the Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas region of the U.S. And even to this day, people are still finding them there in that area. This particular one, however, was sold by a seller in Pennsylvania. All right, so a little bit far away from the intended drop at the time. This one's in pretty decent shape as well. I'd say it's probably more of an AU coin. This one sold for $124.99. A really great sale. These things are still strong performers to this day. Oh, Sean, you can't find any cool errors on brand new notes. Well, you're going to see this one, and yeah, you're going to change your mind. 2017 $10 bill with a gutter fold, right? We all know what gutter folds are. It's just a little wrinkle on the subject sheet before it was printed over. But there you go. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's clear as day. There's no denying that is indeed a gutter fold there on the front. Now, the back doesn't show it, which means the wrinkle was probably pressed out or stretched out at one point. This one sold for $55.50. So, pretty good. Yeah, not too shabby there. That was a good sale for a raggedy modern note. Here's an 1886-0 Morgan dollar. Check that out. A very minor rotated dies, about 20-25 degrees counterclockwise. I'm telling you, you guys flip them coins over. You flip over every single one of them. Someone had told me it's not worth doing because it's just too much effort, but I'm telling you, rotated die errors in today's collectibles space are incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. So you can imagine that this person had probably paid about $30 to $35 for this coin. Okay, it sounds about right. And then if you come across the one, like this one here, guess what? That's going to transform it into this one that sold for $149.99. $150. 5 times what this person paid for it, because it's a common date. So, again, it's certainly worth looking for it. Unless you're, you know, scared of making profit or anything like that. Again, keep this in mind. 2 in 1 show? Man, it just couldn't be, right? It just couldn't happen. But it did. Another 2007p Roosevelt dime. Again, another split die crack doodad. Man, these things are awesome. I missed the one that I sold. It makes me want to get another one. And they're out there too, because we had 2 that sold within 24 hours. This one sold for $112.35 with 14 bids. So again, man, that price is up over $100 every time you find one of these. Again, there are other different split die errors to look out for aside from this one. And the final coin for this episode of the PCMR, I'm telling you guys, I knew this one was out there. I have not found one of these. And you need to pay close attention. You need to grab that jeweler's loupe, that magnifying glass, and you need to get to work. Because 1965, sure, is a ho-hum date because it's the first year of copper nickel clad composition. But there's a big variety, a huge cherry picker's guide variety. It's the FS101 double die obverse. Check out the doubling in Liberty and the motto In God We Trust. Look at the top of the S and T and the D and O and all that stuff. This thing is amazing, and it shows really well on even lower graded examples like this coin, which looks no better than like a VG8. You know, it's that low grade. And guess what? Grade doesn't matter. This one ended up selling for $111. $111.85. That is a stunning sale on this coin. Be on the lookout. Always look at every single 1965 Philadelphia Washington quarter. I tell you, you find one, and you're not going to regret it. This is a huge variety. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It was a tremendous pleasure talking with you today about some of the big coins that sold on eBay for the week. I hope this one gives you a little bit of encouragement that there is a lot to be found out there. So I wish you guys nothing but the best and best luck going out there, hunting around. We got some pretty big shows coming up, so this is going to be a big prime opportunity for each and every single one of you to do some cherry picking. But that's it. I'm out, guys. Best of luck. Have fun in the hobby, and I'll see you next time on another great coin video.